If y'all love black people, like this, comment, and share if y'all love black people.
So there's only 2, maybe 3 things I don't allow on this channel, Destiny. It's TERFs, and it's gatekeeping, and then the third one would be cognitive dissonance for people who refuse education. Your comment has all 3 of these things. See, your profile says that you are a lesbian. However, here you are trying to gatekeep people of the LGBTQIA+ community. Gender and sexuality aren't the same thing. Gender is typically known very firmly by age 5. And even with you saying that, if anybody ever tried to gatekeep on you and say that you didn't know you were a lesbian as a teenager because your brain wasn't done developing until 25, I would correct them as an ally because that's wrong. People just are who they are, and it's not a choice, no matter their age. So if you'd like to, here's some stuff that you could read to further your education. I hope you have a good day.
I guess I'm just a play date to you.
Oh, honey, I am so sorry you have to hear this from me, but he's not into your personality. He's into you because you're a fucking hell. So I've had a lot of comments telling me, oh, no, you should not be calling her honey. That's incredibly disrespectful. You're being rude. You're talking down to her. And all I really have to say to that is, honey, it's okay.
See, for me, it was always the word sweetie that annoyed me more than honey. But what you might not understand is that men often use these types of terms of endearment to talk down to women and girls. Sweetie, you just don't understand. That's cute, honey, but the men are talking. Now, am I saying that I think calling people honey is wrong? No. Do I think if someone asks you not to call them honey, you should not call them honey? Yes. Do I think if someone tells you not to call anybody honey, you should listen? No. But here's what irked me about your video, and I'm not coming for you. I just want you to consider this. Being gay doesn't exempt you from misogynistic behaviors. Gay men have become very comfortable using words like bitch, slut, whore, which are words that women reclaim. You're still a man.
Bring it around now. La da la la da la da da la da. Ladies. La da la la da la da da la da. Ugh.
Hi, Benji here, and this is why, when discussing the safety of women, men's advocates aren't needed. Too often, conversations regarding violence against women are disrupted by a men's advocate. They say, what about men? Men can be victims too. It's not all men. Think of the good ones you're hurting. But men don't need an advocate in these conversations. Firstly, we live in a patriarchal society that prioritizes men's voices, letting women's concerns be centered when discussing the violence they face predominantly at the hands of men is the bare minimum. Secondly, men's safety is important. It's just not always the focus. If you only raise men's issues in relation to violence against women, it's just a tool to silence women. Finally, it absolves men of responsibility. For a future where women feel truly safe, all men need to be held accountable. We need to listen to and fight for women. Men don't always need to be advocated for. Thanks for listening.
I am racist, and I admit it. I have racism ingrained in my psyche. I grew up in a sundown town in a Southern Baptist church, in a Southern Baptist family. Racism was taught to me before I could even speak. And it is my personal responsibility to check myself every time I interact in the world, because I don't want to perpetuate the racism that was taught to me. I want to teach my children a different way, a better way to live. As for the first 4 words of this comment, that is pure gaslighting. I understand very well the assumptions that I come into the world with. I don't need strangers on the internet to imply things for me or to make me shake my own sense of reality. I'm aware. The question is, are you?
Let's talk about intersectional feminism. All women are held back by patriarchy in at least some way in their lives. However, women of color, and especially black women, face additional barriers because of the intersection of their gender and racial identities. To ensure that we are fighting for the rights of these women too, we must take an intersectional approach and recognize how their intersecting identities cause various forms of inequality to operate together and exacerbate each other, as theorized by Kimberly Crenshaw, who coined the term intersectionality. While feminism is a concept through which we fight for the equality of all women, we must take an intersectional, equitable approach to ensuring that we take the actions that are needed to support all women and ensure that they get the resources that they need.
When I was a student, I wrote a paper for one of the classes that I took at Harvard Business School on a feminist vision for Victoria's Secret. For the paper, I worked with two of my colleagues to make a strong argument for strategic recommendations. For Victoria's Secret, that was considered a dying brand. A brand a lot of people just said, oh, it's too late for them to make a comeback, because the brand just had been out of touch for so long. We picked apart their resources, processes, priorities, and capabilities, and made concrete strategic recommendations. So the brand can not only rejuvenate itself, but can make a complete U-turn to regain its footing as an aspirational brand for women, and to add to radical feminist revolution. Recently, Victoria's Secret has announced this new direction, and it almost entirely aligns with what I argued in the paper would make the most ethical and market sense for Victoria's Secret at this time, if they are serious about being in business at all. The vision that I argued in that paper is a lot broader than the vision that is being currently pursued by Victoria's Secret. It doesn't have the quite same radical feminist orientation, but still, for people who say I don't know what I'm talking about.
Now, I hate to be that person, but I think it's high time to remind y'all that in the 2020 presidential election, 55% of white women voters voted for one Donald J. Trump. Also, the majority of the states are red states. We tried to tell y'all. We've been trying to tell y'all. This is y'all's problem. Y'all fix it. Because when we try to fix it, y'all don't want to listen. So, when y'all are ready to listen to black women, let us know. But until then, we're off duty. Fix it for yourself. All right? Love y'all.
You guys know what genre of music sucks? Swag rock.
Walk back down, good, stand by, Cody.
Here's the ironic thing about TikTok. Joined a little over a year ago, and I started to create content that was helpful and inspiring to other young women with disabilities and chronic illness. My main goal was to help them be comfortable in their own skin and to not let anything or anyone define you. Now here I am a few months later, very confused and not feeling confident about the content I post, because I'm worried about what the comments are going to say. I don't want to perpetuate the narrative that disabled people exist just to inspire you.
Could we at least pull up here and get some dinner? Because I like to be wined and dined after I've been fucked.
If you didn't know this, now you do. It's simply not enough to not be racist. You have to be anti-racist. Also, keep in mind, anti-racism is not your personal self-improvement journey, okay? Don't make it about you. Because the minute you start making it about you, criticism, constructive criticism from BIPOC individuals then feels like a personal attack. BIPOC individuals should be at the center of your anti-racism work, because then when you get constructive criticism, it feels like a chance to learn something new instead of your ego simply being offended. Then constructive criticism feels like an opportunity for you to do better. You need to ask yourself, when I'm being critiqued, do I get defensive or do I self-reflect? Ask yourself, do I ask questions so that I may better understand? Or do I try to explain myself away despite the fact I was wrong? Yeah, you talked to her when we were together.
So proud of Texas for putting a ban on abortions after 6 weeks. Word? Gotta look this up. Yeah, it's really gonna be a game changer. Huh, that's weird. What? Well, it looks like abortion providers can be sued, but there's nothing in here about being able to sue the men who create the unwanted pregnancies. Wait. Yeah, like can men be sued if they rape a woman and or cause an unwanted pregnancy to occur? Why would they? Maybe harsher punishments for rapists? I'm not seeing that either. Have they increased the pay for social workers, CPS workers, and orphan caregivers? Why is that necessary? Because of the surplus of children that will be in the system. Oh, you thought because this state is forcing people to have children that they were gonna keep them? I don't... Ugh, so many kids in the system. Ugh, and the amount of kids that stay with parents who don't want them? Trauma. Who's gonna protect all these children? I mean...